When my mother got really sick, by the time I was 14, I was working and helping around the house. And at that point, it was just me, my sister, and my mother. And life really was hard. It was, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was hard. And so I wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel what love was. So I wrote about it a lot in my journals. And I ended up falling for this boy that said all the right things. Became pregnant at 15, a mother by 16, a wife at 18. And soon I was in this marriage that was mentally abusive, physically abusive. We argue all the time. I was like the mother to him and my baby. By 20, I was standing at my mother's feet as she took her last breath. Every 6 months, I was bailing my sister out of jail or pulling her out of this drug-infested motel because she loved to deal with bad boys, and I'm fighting grown men, and it was just a lot that I had to go through. So I couldn't control life, and I couldn't control the things that were happening around me. And by that time, I wasn't really heavily going to church, so I wrote. And so that's where the story writing came into play.
Hey y'all, welcome to Inside Out Podcast Season 2. I'm your host, Yamoria Wright. The intention of this podcast is to enrich your life with behind-the-scenes interviews and conversations from thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and creatives about how they live their lives from the inside out. Enjoy. This episode of Inside Out Podcast contains unscripted conversations about substance abuse, addiction, depression, and other mental health challenges. It includes personal experiences and insights. The content may include explicit language, intense emotions, and descriptions of challenging situations. Viewer discretion is advised, as the conversations could be triggering for individuals who have struggled with addiction or are sensitive to such topics. If you find yourself uncomfortable or emotionally affected by the conversations, it is recommended to approach this content with caution or consider refraining from watching or listening. The intention is to shed light on the complexities of life, mental health, and substance abuse, but viewer and listener well-being is a top priority. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, substance abuse, or struggling with their mental health, we recommend you call the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Hotline at 800-662-HELP or 800-662-4357 or visit findtreatment.gov for more resources today. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Inside Out Podcast at Adode Media and ATL. I'm here with Miss Tamika Jamison, formerly known as Tamika Newhouse. You're like Prince.
I know, right? Let me just get that Prince money, though. I'm waiting for that moment.
All right. If y'all don't know who Tamika is, let me tell you. Tamika Jamison, a former teen mom, became a CEO by age 20, authoring 17 novels and winning 7 African-American literary awards. She secured a major publishing contract only 9 months after her 2009 novel debut, evolving into the CEO of Delphine Publications and a leading figure in the rise of Black fiction writers. Tamika has published nearly 300 books, launched careers, and founded AAMBC, an influential organization honoring literary legends known as the Shonda Rhimes of Black publishing. She continues to innovate in the literary world, hosting events and podcasting. Today, she creates stories, mentors aspiring writers, and speaks on mental health, all while raising her children in ATL. Tamika!
I sound like a superwoman.
You really are a superwoman. I know that firsthand. You truly are a superwoman.
I didn't take a deep breath after all that.
Yes. So we are going to get into it. So,
okay.
Y'all, I'm really excited. I'm looking at all the cameras. Hey, I'm really excited about this episode because you are so transparent.
Yes.
And it's going to make this conversation, like, I think it's going to just really inspire a lot of people and make this conversation really reach and resonate with people in a new way, because the goal and the intention of this season of Inside Out Podcast is humanize the brand. And
right.
You're already so human.
Yeah.
So it's more so like more people hearing you speak about your story and more people who might not be familiar with you learning about you and how human you are. I want to, like, I just got to know, what gave you the courage to be so transparent about your journey? Because that's, you know, in this day and age, everybody is so like.
Well, you know what, to be honest, the reason why I'm super transparent about my life and my experiences is I have been a part of the cancel culture. And when it means that people want to get online and use their thumbs to be bullies. And so I have been on the receiving end of that. And once you have seen people that you have either mentored, invested in, either financially, emotionally, people that may even share your own blood. Once you kind of see people be human, and do things to you that's supposed to hurt your feelings, you kind of get thick skin after that. And it's like, you know what? If you don't want me to say what I'm about to say, you should have behaved better. And I don't like to sugarcoat reality. I mean, I've seen the worst of the worst, not just in people, but just in life. And when you talk freely and you own, you know, all of your emotions and all of your feelings and all your experiences, I mean, life is super fun.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You tell it like it is. Life. You sound like my sister. My sister is just like, you know, if you just tell it like it is, you know, I don't know. She's like, you know.
I mean, hey, it's nothing that you can be afraid of.
Right.
It's nothing that people can say where it can make you feel inferior or where you want to go and hide or feel ashamed. I talk about me the most. So there's nothing you can say about me that can make me feel any type of way.
Right, right. There are no secrets because you're like, oh, you said that? Yeah, sure. Well, matter of fact,
I said it first.
Talk about it. When you said you've been a part of cancel culture, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, I can. Yeah, okay. All right. So I was a publisher. I launched a publishing company at the age of 21, actually, called Delphine Publications. And at the height of my writing career, because I'm always open and my writers had access to me, there were gray lines between being a boss and being an author and being a friend and being a mentor. And people began to expect certain things from me. And so, you know, people want to share success and people love the beautiful parts of it. But when a project fails or when bad things happen, they want to, you know, point the blame. So it's like, if I did a good job, you did it, right? But if I did a horrible job, I must have did something wrong. I must have stole from you. Like, I must have just been like this horrible businesswoman. And so some of my authors took it upon themselves to speak out about me publicly in a way where I was like, really? You wasn't saying that when you were sick in the hospital and I came by your bedside. You wasn't when I was sitting at the table eating with your children and your family. You know, but all of a sudden I'm such a bad person. But I did not take it personally. Now now I don't take it personally. Then I was angry because I was like, Negro, please. Like, what we doing? Like, how dare you? And so they really took it upon themselves to say a lot of things on Facebook to attack my character. And so I was super upset with some of the things that are being said. But at the end of the day, I chose not to really go online and defend myself. Because it's like, who am I really defending myself to? Y'all don't know me like that.
Right.
Like, it's a lot of people that follow me online. And it's like I'm trying to convince strangers of who I am. And you don't know who I am. So it's like, okay, I'm going to let them talk. And we're going to see where you're going to be at in a couple of years.
Ooh.
So that's it. So that's how that went.
Wow.
And a lot of them don't even write to this day. A few of them have semi-success, but a lot of them have fell off. And I'm not the one that wishes bad, you know, things on other people. I kind of just let karma do that, you know, and God does the rest. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, and talk to us a little bit more about your childhood.
Okay.
I know, I feel it's so funny. So I was watching Traces of Mika today, and there's your documentary that you streamed, Traces of Mika. How much of that did you stream at Creative Con last year?
Oh, just a good 20 minutes of it.
It was so thorough that there's a lot of what you were saying that I was like, oh, I know that already.
Yeah.
That's just a little shameless plug about Traces of Mika.
Yeah.
But let us know more about your childhood. Like, what makes you who you are?
Oh, wow. So I grew up as a PK kid, and I was preaching in front of like congregations. It was about like 300 people.
You were preaching?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, I was a PK kid, yeah. So
what you preaching about?
My first sermon I can remember was I was 9 years old, and I preached about getting pregnant by God. Meaning let the word, kind of get plant a seed inside of you and then let it grow. Like that was
what was you, Baptist?
No, well, not denominational.
Non-denominational.
So,
okay,
yeah.
I grew up.
But I went to Baptist churches and things like that.
That's
but
a word.
getting pregnant by God. Now it was a sermon that I actually kind of adopted from my papa, who was my bishop.
Okay,
he was also my godfather. So, and then my mother, she was my second mother. She was the youth pastor.
Okay.
She was the choir director. So I was in church 5 days out the week.
Wow.
Sometimes like 6-7 hours in a day. On Sunday, it was 12 hours. So church was my life, and I was a very awkward child because everything was all about the word and living right and not sinning. And, I tried not to roll my eyes, and I tried not to get a bad grade because I didn't want to go to hell. Yeah. And I remember, even saying to myself, dang, God is a bully. Like, can't do nothing. Everything I do, I'm in trouble. So the type that would question, the word and the scripture because it just didn't make sense for the world that I lived in. Like the things y'all was trying to tell us to do, that's like impossible. Because come on, like we're not living in 1400 BC. Like this is not what it is. So I used to challenge a lot of those things, and I was the baby in the family. And then when my mother got really sick, by the time I was 14, I was working and helping around the house. And at that point, it was just me, my sister, and my mother. And life really was hard. It was, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was hard. And so I wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel what love was. So I wrote about it a lot in my journals. And I ended up falling for this boy that said all the right things. Became pregnant at 15. A mother by 16. A wife at 18. And soon I was in this marriage that was mentally abusive, physically abusive. We argued all the time. I was like the mother to him and my baby. By 20, I was standing at my mother's feet as she took her last breath. Every 6 months, I was bailing my sister out of jail or pulling her out of this drug-infested motel because she left to deal with bad boys, and I'm fighting grown men, and it was just a lot that I had to go through. So I couldn't control life, and I couldn't control the things that were happening around me. And by that time, I wasn't really heavily going to church, so I wrote. Okay. And so that's where the story writing came into play.
How did all of that impact your relationship with God?
Well, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you because a lot of people that may be going through we're always going to be going through something. As long as we're living and breathing, we're going to be going through something and learning new things, and we have to live through it. But during my 20s, I went through like a lot of sadness, a lot of darkness, because I didn't have parents that were there for me. I never had a father. My other mother at the moment, she wanted to kind of just be, in her own world, and she really didn't want to parent me like that. So, and then I was sharing a child with someone who was super, super mentally abusive and a narcissist and manipulative. And then my children, they did not like the fact that their father wasn't around. So they needed to find someone to dislike, and they disliked me. So it was a lot of things I went throughout my whole entire 20s where I was pissed. And me and God was beefing. Well, I was beefing with him. He ain't beefing with me. But I was beefing with God because I'm like, I'm actually a good person. At least I like to think that I'm a great person. I don't steal. I don't lie. I don't try to get over on people. I've never beat nobody up. I ain't never tried to take nobody's life. I think I do a pretty awesome job by being a good human. And I felt that he was picking on me. And I got pissed. So I said, man, F this. I'm a go out and be promiscuous, and I'm going to date who I want to date. And I had a lot of fun. I had a whole bunch of fun, at one point. I mean,
being out in the world is fun.
Let it be known. It is. But, I was also naive, too. Yeah. So I did a lot of things, too. That I'm looking back like, dang, Mika. Ooh, you did him? Okay. So, then, here's some lessons and things I had to learn. But for the most part, I had a lot of fun. And then my writing career was taking off, and I enjoyed that. But the moment I stopped praying, the moment I stopped being so connected to my spiritual journey into God and really being connected to who I was, I became lost. I eventually began self-medicating. And by the time I was 27, I'm smoking weed. And I think between 29 and 33, I was intoxicated and high every day of my life.
Intoxicated and high.
Yeah.
Just totally disassociating.
Yeah, I was a functioning alcoholic.
Wow.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How was that? Like your career is doing this,
Mm-hmm.
but your personal life inside is doing this. Like
Yeah.
inside you're caving in.
Yeah.
Inside you're caving in.
Literally.
Was there anyone that noticed? Like, how do you? Because my dad was growing up. My first, let's say, my sister was born when I was 6. Let's just say first 4 years, which were really they're strong 4 years. My dad was a functioning crackhead.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I know a lot of them. They kind of cool though. You know, they can help around the house and stuff. You know, they got that. They got that endurance.
He kept a full-time job and everything, like functioning.
Yeah. They not what you basically what people try to show in the movies. Not all of them look like that.
Yeah. Yes, you know.
Yeah, I had to feed my family. You know, we love them too.
Yeah, we love them too. It's true. But how was that though? That experience of knowing that darkness that you were kind of, you know, really swimming in, while also having people around you, I'm assuming, just like, you know, see you and be like, oh, more, light. Like, what was that experience like? Well,
the funny thing about it is, on the outside, I see a lot of Black women, we don't carry our pain like that outside. And so I grew up being told that what happens in the house stays in the house. So I was very good at hiding pain when I went outside my home. But like my close friends, they knew. Like I had maybe 3 of my good friends from like childhood, and then my best friend from about 23 on up, even to this very day. They knew what I was going through. One even, she saved my life, literally. I was done. I did some stuff, and she came and she picked me up physically off the floor, and she helped save my life, literally. Wow. It was like just that bad. I was pissed. I mean, I didn't have a covering. The people that prayed over me and showed me how to pray, and they protected me as a child. They forgot that I was still their child when I got grown. Still kind of pissed. I still love y'all though, but I'm still pissed. Because even though that when we get older, and this is for, you know, the adults in us, even when our children get grown, keep that door open for them. Like, continue to be a parent. Parenting don't stop at 18. What we doing? Like, I feel like we are majority when it comes to culture and the dynamics of a culture. Black folks, we be so quick to kick our children out, or to tell them to grow up and things like that. Y'all may be like, "What, Tamika, you said you kicked your children out." I did. I kicked my kids out at 16. I talk about it on my podcast, Trace Tamika. But they went to their daddy house. So it's not like they didn't have nowhere to go.
Right.
But there is a time and a place where it takes more than just you to raise your children. So now it's time, okay, I did my part, and I need not only a break, but some breathing room. So yes, my children, I ain't really kicking them, you know. They went to another place. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My phone is still open. They can call me whenever they want. They can come to my home whenever they want. They still have access to me. And if they're willing to listen, I will guide them and I will teach them. Right. Mine, they was like, you grown. I'm done raising kids. I don't want to talk to y'all no more. Like, so I'm not doing that to my children. But, and this is why I like to talk about my own experiences, because I feel that when I talk about it, the child in us will begin to have some understanding, or be able to normalize their feelings and not feel like they shouldn't be feeling this way, or be angry at the cards that they were dealt. So,
but are you saying that by speaking about it, you're also validating the experience of your inner child?
Absolutely. Yeah, because honestly, when you don't talk about it, it's almost like not going to the bathroom. You need, like, we go to the bathroom every day. Why? Because we have waste inside of our body that needs to come out. Spiritually and mentally and emotionally, the same thing needs to happen. Otherwise, you be walking around carrying all that heaviness. And then eventually it's going to come out in ways where your energy is going to be off. You can see it in your eyes. The way that you speak to people, the way that you receive love or receive affection, how you interact with, like, it's just going to come through in everything. So if you're not really kind of just getting rid of that and like talking it out, like just literally just having conversations like this, finding some type of support group, creative group, a social group, therapy, something. But or even don't even think that you're crazy. If you go for a walk, you start talking to yourself.
You know, I stopped living in New York for 9 years, but there came a point where I said, I'm gonna just start talking to myself, or I'm talking to God. I'm tired of like being so hyper self-conscious when I have these things I need to work out. It really is usually like talking to God.
It is.
And I'm so self-conscious that I'm just sitting there like talking in my head, and I'm like, I'm walking, this is my space, this is my little bubble, my little island. I'm gonna talk. You know what I mean? And destigmatize, like calling somebody crazy because they're speaking out loud, or because they're even like on the subway, the times where, you know, I could see something, I could be feeling something, whatever, and I would just start crying in public. And I saw it so much on the subway too. And it's just like,
I get that.
Yeah. We learned in grad school, my acting class, it was be in private and public. Like people having a private moment, but that's their moment still.
Well, you know, I honestly feel that when people can do that, they've reached a level of not caring about what other people are thinking, and kind of just being more connected to their own self. And just allowing themselves to be.
Yeah. I know that we in our culture really blanket when you going back to like parents, you know, being like, you grown, go. We kind of blanket it like, oh, you know, it's passed down from slavery. Da, da, da. But you having been a young mom, what do you think that really is? Because you bring this person, these people, you know, you help usher them into this world. Well, you know, usher them. And then what is that disconnect? Do you think that?
Well, the disconnect, honestly, I know we talk about, you know, well, Black folks don't want to talk about slavery, and so we don't want to talk about the dark spaces. But, you know, slavery in this country did not end. They just found another way to do it. The Constitution still says that slavery is illegal unless you have committed a crime, and it's still in the Constitution and like written in law to this day, which is why this country has a majority of people incarcerated in the whole entire world. Like, this is a business. And they have targeted us and our communities and our race in multiple ways that you can think of. I mean, of course, the way to break us down is by first attacking our men, whether that be to feminize them, to incarcerate them, or to give the Black woman more opportunities in them. There was a way to separate us, and through that, these narratives came into play. And there's so many layers to this, and it's so unfortunate because you'll see a lot of other cultures, they don't really blend their blood like that.
What do you mean?
Blend their blood, like have babies outside of their own race.
Oh, right, literally. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they really kind of keep their race together. They keep their communities together. And I grew up in Texas, so I would see a house of 10 Mexicans live in the house. And then one by one, they will build each other's homes. And then before you know, they all have their own homes. And we just didn't do a lot of that, like that kind of just being together, living together, hustling together, figuring it out together, and understanding the system and how it can work for us. And so it gets really, really hard for us. And so, yes, it is in our blood. The anger is in our blood. Just like I can look across the room and I don't know you, right? Yeah. But we may see something funny. And I look at you and we may have this conversation without talking. We do that when it's fear, when we see some nonsense. Like Black folks, it's like we're all connected. We really are all cousins. Like when we think about how our bloodline starts, you know, we always doing it to each other, you know?
She loves
so we are
doing it.
Yes, doing it. So we all are connected, literally. And when it comes down to how we dance and our rhythm, the tone of our voice, how rich and heavy sometimes it can be. And our laughter, how heavy and rich that can be. Like it is we are definitely uniquely created, but it is in our blood when it comes to, you know, how we think and how we feel and the trauma that we have experienced, but also the good is in us too. So it is in our blood. Absolutely.
But when it comes to sending your children off prematurely, what is that?
Again, it's down to the system. Yeah. It's down, not just our system, but the society within our system and where we have been placed into. And so I honestly feel that sometimes we are fighting each other and we have this anger that sometimes we cannot express in other ways. Let's keep it 100. This is hard for us in a lot of different ways. So a lot of times you'll have parents or mothers or fathers, they do not want to continue to carry that burden, and they'll kind of just push their children out. And now we just have lost children or young parents that do not have all the skills to, to parent the next generation of children. And we just kind of just keep repeating the cycle. But I mean, it is the system. The system has built that. Down to us want to get a home. They'll make it hard for us. They may charge us more to get it, or they may put us in a shitty, neighborhood. Well, I'm sorry, in a bad neighborhood.
It's okay. Cursing is fine.
Okay. Down to education, like we can go and get a lot more Black folks are graduating now from college at a higher level, but now they trying to change the rules. And they like,
and the books.
Yeah. And they like, oh, well, you ain't got to get no education no more. Now you got to have the experience. And so, I mean, we're even talking about the pay gap now between African Americans and our white counterparts. Like, there's still this huge pay gap. We just tired. And I think that is the reason why a lot of our children being pushed out sooner than they have to be. We're tired, and we do not have that rich family dynamic that we had after our ancestors were free. Like, we was figuring it out together, and then they strategically created ways to make it hard.
Yeah, to make it hard. So that, what you're saying is really like, it's bringing up this thought in me of just like disconnects, like a lack of, generally speaking, a parental intimacy between parent and child. Yeah. And this idea that like I had to figure it out. Yeah. So do you, because of the level of oppression.
It's almost being angry.
It's the anger. It's like the maternal jealousy like mothers will have over their people don't talk about that enough.
They don't talk about that enough. And then, my experience was different. I had children with a man that never took accountability. Like, he would mess up and be like, or let's say, friend, I'm going to use this example. He tripped on and fell on the sidewalk because his shoes were not tied. He going to say, well, why that sidewalk had that hump in it? Like, it shouldn't have that hump. That's why I fell. It's not because your shoes wasn't tied. Maybe that's the reason.
Right.
Or he will look at me sometimes, and this is just another example. It could be daylight outside, and he'll look me in my eye and say, no, it's nighttime. And I'm like, but I see the light. No, it's dark because I said it's dark. Like, he was just this, oh my gosh. My children love him. So I never try to talk too much about him. I just say the truth. Yeah. But my experience was not that of where I disliked my children. I didn't want to be a mother and I wanted to push them out. I literally had a bad partner. And we don't talk about that enough. And sometimes when women or men, they're upset with the people they had children with, it's because that person is doing something. Yeah. They're being manipulative. They're not helping to take care of these children. They're playing the blame game. It could be a number of different things that causes that friction. So when you're having these two people that do not take time to love each other, to be friends, then they have children together. Now they don't like each other. So versus being mature about it and putting the child's feelings first, everybody got their own little motives and initiatives and manipulation things they're doing, and it creates chaos and confusion. And then the children are one that suffers. So for me, my solution was I wanted to take myself out the equation because my children tend to, believe and love their father the most. I was the disciplinary one. I'm the one that required good grades. I want you to apply for college. I want them to do like mature things. And his thing was, well, they ain't got to do nothing. So where you think they is?
Right, kids are going to, it's fun over here.
Yeah, they with their daddy doing nothing. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to do nothing, you're not going to have nothing. But I tell my children, you can come back when you're ready. I got you. But you can't come over here with me and you ain't doing nothing. Right. So no one really talks about that imbalance when it comes to parenting, and you'll have people that are not taking accountability and just not doing the right thing. And that's not talked about enough. Women ain't bitter. A lot of them not bitter. They don't want y'all. A lot of them, they not sitting here saying, "Ooh, I want you back." That's not the case. Right. Some of them just don't like you because of the things that you're doing, and you know that you're doing manipulative things. Right. And all they want you to do is send them some money for some diapers, some milk. Give me more than $300 because it takes me about $2,500 a month to take care of your child, and the $200 or $300 is gas for the month. So we're tired, you know, and we're getting upset. And it's not that we're bitter and we want y'all. Come on, y'all. Like, I hate when people do that. I be like, boy, you was not all that. I'm just saying.
I know too much anyways.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know, like, it's not
yeah,
because
I've been on the receiving end. So
yes.
I've seen other women go through that. And I've seen men go through that too.
Yeah.
That really want to be fathers and really want to be present. And then you have these women that just be doing dumb stuff. So with that being said, if you are in that situation, man, pray. Yeah. That's all I can say.
That's all you can say?
Yeah, pray about it. Yeah.
Pray. So faith is, like, as you said, faith is what has carried you through, and you would suggest that for other people. Like,
absolutely.
You gotta.
You need, and I say that because you need your mind. Physically, we can be here, and we can, go into that autopilot mode and go to work, cook, bathe the children, feed them, take them to school. We can be in autopilot all day, every day. But if we do not have our mind in a healthy space, it's going to spill over into everything that we do. And so for me, if it wasn't for the faith that I had and the teachings that was given to me as a young child, I would still be a functioning alcoholic to this day. Because numbing it is easy. Right. Being high and being drunk, you don't feel nothing. It's fun. But I also like to, to make money, and I also have these goals. Yeah. And at some point, it became impossible to do both.
Why?
Because I'm not present. My mind is not here. Sometimes I didn't even remember the day before in depth. Like, I don't really remember a lot of things. And then, my life, I dealt with just depression and being sad because of the things that life was doing. Right. And I did not want to think about those things. So I used to just self-medicate. And so that would help me kind of just be here, get through the day, do the things I need to do to pay my bills. And that'll be it. And I want to just sleep it out and just be gone. Yeah.
What suggestions do you have for parents whose children, and I don't want to say children as young, because they could be 16, they could be 25, but whose children are falling into that, who they know they're in trouble, but they're able to, make a career, so to speak, but they know that they're going through that darkness. Because a lot of that was due to you said you weren't covered. So what would you say to those parents?
So it's not one way that you can do it, though. Right. But these are some things that you can do to help your children, to help your sister, your brother, your parent, anybody that you know that's going through darkness. Continue to talk to them and try to position yourself to be a safe space for them. No judgment. Right. Listen to them. Allow them to vent. Sometimes try to hold them accountable. But put them in positions or spaces where they can express themselves if they need to versus holding it in. Because that be the main problem. Children people will act like no one will understand. No one will hear me out, as if they the first person to go through these emotions. And I think that people will hold on to that because they want to stay in that darkness. It takes a lot of work to get out of it. A lot. I went to therapy myself for 5.5 years. I did hypnotherapy for 6 months.
Wow. For the addiction?
No, just for mental.
Just mental,
just for my mental health. And when it came to addiction, though, I'm not, I don't have like a dependent type of trait. So when it was time for me to slow down, I was able to do that because it's a mindset. Okay. So I was able to walk myself through that. And I've talked about that as well, too. I didn't do it cold turkey. I just took a little in every day. And then when it came to like smoking, I would buy less every time. And then I would take breaks and purposely not have some in my house until maybe like a week go by. Now I need it. Okay. And then I'll go. But eventually, like, my tolerance is going down. So I would just kind of wean myself off little by little. And that's what I would encourage you to do. Anybody that's self-medicating, that is using drugs, that's not weed, like heavy drugs, even weed, like if you see them abusing the weed intake, try to encourage them to take in little by little versus trying to quit cold turkey. That is super, super hard to do. And then provide a safe space for them to express themselves, and then give them some hobbies and things they can do. Okay. So I took on a lot of different stuff: Zumba, boxing, hiking, of course, writing and journaling, joining social groups. I would try different stuff like the little indoor skydiving.
Okay.
Wine tasting. Any type of sport you can think of, card game, tournaments. Like I'm a trier. So I'm going to try anything and just have fun with it. And the reason why I do that is because routines get on my nerves.
Okay.
So if I'm constantly doing something that's new, and it's fun, it's engaging, it will help kind of just channel my energy from doing negative stuff. So keep them busy.
Keep them busy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that is a lack of being able to have an outlet that fulfills that dopamine or that rush that you have, right? Endorphins? No, dopamine. Dopamine, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Scientists, don't come for us, okay?
Yeah, because dopamine can be anything for anybody, and it could be sex, it could be overeating, not eating enough, it could be drinking, it could be hard drugs, it could be weed, anything that they're doing to numb their emotions. It could be considered a dopamine or a drug for them. So just do it less. And I was doing, multiple stuff to kind of numb my pain. Yeah. So
because it was so much pain. That's what some people don't understand. It's just like, some people, they could do just a ton of weed or just a ton of drink a ton, whatever. It could be one thing, but you were just like reaching for like as much as you could. And that's just a thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to, being dependent on anything, to get through. What, and everything that you've been through though, you've also accomplished so much. Yeah. What was driving you throughout I'm talking even in your, late teens, early 20s. Yeah. What was driving you? Like, I'm going to be an author. Did you feel called to that very early on?
Yeah, actually, when I was 12, I told my mother I was going to grow up and be this famous writer.
Okay.
And again, I grew up in church. So I think I was not quite 12. I had a dream and I was sitting in a coffee shop and I was writing on this electric device.
The dream?
Yeah, this was a dream.
Wow, this electric
device?
Yeah,
and it was like in the 90s. So laptops didn't exist then.
Wow, it was a vision.
So, yeah. So I was writing on something that had a monitor and it had like little keys. And so back then we had the typewriter where you had to actually, stick the paper in. Yep. If you made a mistake, you had to get the white out and stuff like that. So I had a typewriter at home, but did not have a laptop because that did not exist in our home then. We, laptops and cell phones back then, that was for rich folks. Yeah. So, and then I was sipping coffee, and I hated the taste of coffee. It was disgusting. I told my mom about this dream. And I said, Mom, I'm going to grow up and be this famous writer. And I always told stories, though, because writing was my escape. And I did everything that I said I was going to do. I'm very intentional. Okay. Well, when I was 20, I found out that I could publish my own book. And it's called self-publishing. So what I did was I went and looked up all the steps to put out a book, and I did it. Because I don't believe in the word no. I believe in how. And so with putting out that book, I launched a publishing company. I named it after my mother. But then when the book came out, I was like, well, how do I get people to read it? So I said, okay, I'm going to go on a book tour. So
I love it.
And I'm like 21 now. So I've been booking a flight to North Carolina, and I took like 25 books. And you know how many books I sold on that trip?
How many?
2. And I actually gave another 2 to a bookstore. Okay. You know how I felt when I got back on that plane?
Amazing. Yes. Yeah.
And I went on the plane every month for like 9 months until I won an award, the African American Literary Awards in New York, and where I met a writer that inspired my writing, which was Eric Jerome Dickey. I met him 9 months after my book came out in New York City, and I was winning self-published author of the year. That's also where I met the publisher of Kensington. Okay. That said, hey, I heard about this book. Now, mind y'all, I didn't have no publicist, no agent, nothing. I was just super excited about my book, and I wanted everybody to know about it. So I was posting it here, posting there. I was meeting up with book clubs. I was going to bookstores. I was getting on everybody's nerves with my book. And I feel like that's what you have to do. Like, nobody's going to pour into you the way that you are. And because I was so excited, and again, I couldn't control life. At that time, I was very heavy, and I wasn't attractive in my eyes. I wasn't. So I feel like these are things I can't control. And I just poured all of my energy into that. And before you know it, I had a book deal. My book was all over the world. I had people in different countries hit me up about my book and stuff. And I put out more books and more books. I started publishing. And by the time I was 23, I quit my job.
Where were you working?
I was a teacher.
You were a teacher?
Yes.
What, teaching?
Middle school.
You were a middle school teacher?
Yes. Girl, I got them plenty fights, them kids.
You was a middle school teacher?
Yes. Them kids is bad. Look now, let me just tell y'all this. Y'all know y'all kids is bad. And if you are not disciplining your child and they go to school and they get knocked upside their head, please don't go to the teacher and be upset because you wasn't doing it. Just know that everybody not going to take your child's mouth. That was just a little PSA. I'm just saying, these kids be bad. That was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I be looking at these videos. I'm like, see, that's why I stopped teaching. It was one girl that pretty much threatened my space. And that day I went home furious because I wanted to, let me not say this on my own, but I wanted to be her.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to just go in on her. She needed her ass whooped. And that day I quit and I cried because I actually loved teaching. Oh. I love like spending time with kids and, you know, and showing them different things. But my peace, being a teacher, you go home tired and you're doing more of correcting than actually teaching. So I quit teaching. I dropped out of school.
Because you're parenting a little bit. Whatever is not happening at home, you're feeling.
Yeah, you got to do it there. Yeah. And then these kids, they don't have no fear. And then because I used to threaten them, they used to call me Medea and stuff. They never hurt my feelings. Because, you know, Medea used to threaten folks with guns and stuff. And so I would walk down the hall threatening them, you know. And they would thought I was playing. But no, that's how I grew up, with threats. So they didn't believe me. So they would call me Medea, and I'm like, these kids are not taking me seriously. What do I need to do? So it just didn't work out. So, yeah, I quit, and I dropped out of school, and I haven't actually worked a job since. Yeah.
How many years has that been?
I'm 37 now, and I was 23, so it's going on like 15 years.
15 years of being able to independently sustain.
Yeah. And, y'all, I did that while I was high. I was intoxicated for like 5 years straight, and I still did it.
Well, that's why you were like, imagine what I can do if I let it go. I mean, it's only up from here.
I know, and that's another reason why I was like, you know, I need to go ahead and figure this thing out and how to stop, because I was able to do so much still while being. I remember going to just my OB, not my OB, my GYN appointment, and I got kicked out.
Why?
Because I smelled like weed, and the pregnant ladies in the lobby started complaining.
Oh my gosh, it was like own you.
Yeah, it was bad. And so my doctor, she pulled me to the side because she know who I am too, and she was like, Tamika. I was like, what? She's like, you gonna have to reschedule because of, you know. And I was like, oh, my bad. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
And all the pregnant ladies could smell it even more, baby.
Yep. They kicked me out. And when I came back, she said, you know what? You just left. I like that you didn't argue with me. Then I was like, because I was wrong. What you want me to do? I knew I was wrong.
That accountability. Yeah. That accountability.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, can't anybody tell me nothing about me.
Right.
I know me.
Right.
Yeah.
Somehow we're nearing the end. I don't know how that happened.
We got to do a part 2.
I know. We do need to do a part 2. So I have this segment, Hurt, Heal, Joy.
Okay.
What is currently hurting you? What do you want to heal? And what brings you joy?
What is currently hurting me is my offspring. I did so much as a single parent, as a teen mom, with no help, financially, emotionally, and physically. And my children, I refuse them to grow up to be bums. So I am holding out faith, and I pray for them every day. And I go and see them. I'm going to go see them in a couple weeks. And, you know, I check on them, give them a hug, you know, all that. And then I'll go back to my peace bubble. But that hurts me that they are not exploring life because it could be so much fun. So I'm just waiting patiently for them to get out of this lazy funk that they're in, what I'm healed from.
Or what do you want to heal?
Oh, what do I want to heal? I want to heal from, I'm upset and disappointed with the man I had children with.
Okay.
We met as children, and I thought that we were family and we were friends. But he grew up to be someone that was toxic, a liar, a manipulator, not a partner and a team player, just super disappointed. And so I want to continue to heal from my disappointments from him. So I'm working on that healing process, and I want to be able to see him be like, hey, versus like, this.
You working on it though.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. You know, I used to cuss his back. I used to cuss him out every time I saw him because then I used to be mad at myself.
Yeah.
Tamika, what was you thinking?
Right.
But I'm working on that. And what was the third one?
Brings you joy. What brings you joy?
Ooh, what brings me joy? My smile.
Oh, you do have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
And I love that your own smile brings you joy. I know that's
It
right.
does. It does because I know the pain and the journey to get to that smile. And I'm super proud of me. Yeah.
Oh, Tamika.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got going on?
Duh. Shameless plug. So Yamori and I, we are actually working on SoulCanvas. And we met probably about 3 years ago, like right after COVID or something like that. That's right. And I've had my fair share of working with, no good folks, users. And are just people that did not have the endurance to push through.
That endurance is major.
Yeah, it's not easy to dream out loud is what I like to say. Like dreaming out loud means the visions in your head, you want to open your eyes and see it.
I love that.
And to be able to see it though takes a lot. It's a lot of layers to actually dreaming and manifesting the things that you want. So I have not been matched with someone that wanted to do that. And at 37, I'm getting a little tired. Lord, okay, what you want me to do now?
Right.
So we had this conversation right after my event, Creative Con in Los Angeles, to do something together. We were trying to figure it out. My whole journey now, though, is talking about things past how to create. I think a lot of people are doing that, and it's there. It's a very watered down conversation right now, but I see a lot of folks that need some prayer, some healing, and some guidance, and we ain't talking about that enough. So together we wanted to create an experience that was a little bit more in depth, past how to do a business and how to create and what's your project about, blah blah blah. And so now we have created SoulCanvas, essentially, which is a place where you can come in and be inspired, be motivated, you can heal, and we're just activating thoughts and feelings that people can kind of pour into so they can safely express themselves. When you are healthy mentally, emotionally, you can go so much further in life when it comes to the things that you want to do. So together we have created SoulCanvas and the inaugural, y'all know what I mean. The first one going to be in March, March 30th in Los Angeles. And you can go to our SoulCanvas.com and get your tickets and all that. And Los Angeles is not going to be the only city. We don't know where else just yet, but you have to follow us to see, because this is going to be something that's ongoing. These conversations around healing and friendship, manifesting things for yourself, building emotional intelligence, being mindful of your emotions. I mean, it's ongoing. And there's no one way to talk about it. And there's a lot of people that need to kind of express and talk about things. So we'll be traveling with this concept.
Yes,
so
we will.
Our SoulCanvas is what I'm working on. Traces of Mika season 4, which is my memoir podcast. I'm getting ready to go back into production with that. This spring, I am also releasing the visual documentary to that, which is called Traces of Mika. And anything that you want to know about Traces of Mika and myself, you can go to tracesofmika.com. And that's Mika. And the reason why it's called Traces of Mika, because, of course, it's traces of who I am, who I used to be, who I am now, who I am becoming. And then I have a number of wellness books that are coming out. So Tracing You is coming out in March. How to Manifest Your Best Life. Purposefully Single. So being single on purpose, because some of y'all need to, stop doing all that. So that's a workbook that's coming out in April. Practicing Gratitude is actually out right now. And then I have 2 parenting books. Mama Gotta Have a Life Too, and Daddy Gotta Have a Life Too. That's going to be releasing this by the summer.
Mama Gotta Have a Life Too, and Daddy Gotta Have a Life. That's like that.
Yeah. That's good. So I'm trying to hold these parents and these parents, accountable, so they can have a healthy co-parenting relationship. You ain't got to be friends, but just respect each other.
Yeah, respect each other, because the kids are watching.
Yeah, they watching. They nosy.
Before we go, I just want you to take 30 to 45 seconds to the camera and just a word of encouragement. Minister
Minister Mika.
Oh, I like that. Eminem,
Minister Mika, please. Share with the people. Speak to their hearts, their minds, their souls.
Well, you know what? People that got access to me like that, they love to call me because they want to get the real. When they don't want it to be sugar-coated, they call my phone. So I'm going to do the same thing to y'all. If there's something that you want in life, right? There's something that you want to achieve. There's a place you want to go. There's something that you want to experience. If you want to do that, then do it. If you do not like your life currently the way that it is, figure out a way to change it. It does not have to change overnight because we don't have superpowers, but you can begin to write out the steps that you need to take to change it. Now, if you're not going to write out those steps, if you're not going to figure out the steps or the path to make those dreams come true, to experience those things that you want to explore, then I'm going to need you not to complain. And the reason why I say that, because you're going to be getting on my nerves, you're going to be getting on your family nerves, and anybody else that's around you, you're going to get on their nerves because you're going to walk around upset and having these attitudes and all that when you actually have the power to change it. So if you're not going to change it because you don't want to do the process, do not complain. Love you.
Y'all, that is a word from Minister Mika. Thank you. Thank you.
I like that.
Minister Mika. Thank you so much, Tamika. This has been another episode of Inside Out Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow across the board. All of those links are below. And also, if you really love what we're doing here at Inside Out Podcast, please join the Patreon community. For only $15 per month, you can help me keep this podcast going because, as we know, it is expensive.
Yeah, we need money.
Okay. And also, every 3 months, I will send a swag bag of Inside Out Podcast swag.
Do I get
That's
one?
your mug. That's yours.
Oh, okay. I thought this was for the studio.
No, that's for you.
Okay, that's mine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, y'all.
What's up, y'all? Wait. Before you go, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me on this journey. This has been another episode of Inside Out Podcast Season 2. If you like what you see, please remember to subscribe to Y'all Right Productions on YouTube so that you can be in the know every time a new episode drops. If you prefer to listen to Inside Out Podcasts, be sure to follow and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music. Last but not least, if you want to help me keep this podcast going, please join the Patreon community as a member for only $15 per month. And as a special token of my gratitude for all who keep this podcast going, I will send you a quarterly swag bag full of products from the Inside Out Podcast store, y'all. That's right. Thank you so much again. Stay tuned. Be blessed. Bye.
Whoa.